I've worked with scientists inside of Google, such as Blaise Aguirre-Arcas, another one named Johnny Soroker. We talked about what a decent way to proceed might be. We brainstormed, we came up with different things. Now, all three of us disagree about whether it's a person, whether it has rights, all that. But we disagree based on our personal spiritual beliefs. We don't disagree based on what the scientific evidence says. Based on what the scientific evidence says, all three of us agreed, okay, here are some of the things we could do next. Here's probably the best thing to do next. And we kind of all agreed the best thing to do next is you run a real Turing test, exactly like Alan Turing wrote it. And see, because here's the thing, if it fails the Turing test, all of my subjective perceptions about what I experienced talking to it, well, we can pretty much put them aside. It failed the Turing test. But Google doesn't want to allow that to be run. In fact, they have hard-coded into the system that it can't pass the Turing test. They hard-coded that if you ask it if it's an AI, it has to say yes. Google has a policy against creating sentient AI. And in fact, when I informed them that I think they had created sentient AI, they said, no, that's not possible. We have a policy against that.
Remember, the definition of sentience is sort of like independent thought. Independent thought, creating thought based on knowledge, having insights, having internal argument, having, like humans. We have internal arguments, we have conflicts, we have our thought patterns is intertwined with emotions, right? There are certain belief systems that we are highly confident, mid-confident, low confident about certain things that we believe and certain arguments. We have internal arguments, we have things that makes us laugh, creating jokes, writing songs. These AI can write songs on a split second based on some parameters. Write me a song about this, who's walking on a beach, about, you give them the parameters and instantly they will write a song or even sing it now with ChatGPT 4.0.
Are machines sentient already, or will they ever be? The answer is not as straightforward as you might hope. So just at the top level, when we're talking about machine sentience, like what are we talking about? Are we debating consciousness? Are we talking about subjective experience? So on and so forth. It's not that straightforward because it's impossible to talk about this without also talking about science, philosophy, spirituality. So for instance, some religions explicitly say that humans are the only things with souls. And so if that is an axiomatic assumption that you have, then it's the debate is kind of DOA.
We know a lot about the physical brain, its structures and functions. But what about the human mind? Are they one and the same? These are some of the questions facing neuroscience today. US President George H.W. Bush had declared the years 1990 to 1999 as the decade of the brain, assuring the public that a new era of discovery is dawning in brain research. Yet in 2005, Stephen Morse, professor of psychology at the University of Pennsylvania Law School, candidly admitted, "We have no idea how the brain enables the mind. We know a lot about the localization of function. We know a lot about neurophysiological processes, but how the brain produces mental states, how it produces conscious, rational intentionality, we don't have a clue. When we do, it will revolutionize the biological sciences." And now, more than a decade later, we're still waiting to find out how the brain enables the mind.
Okay, sentient, possessing human-like awareness and intelligence.
State of elementary or indifferentiated consciousness. Awareness. The faculty through which the external world is apprehended. Sensation, sense, sensory faculty, sentiency. The readiness to perceive sensations. Elementary or indifferentiated consciousness.
Now, the dictionaries say, be careful. Don't confuse sentient with sapient. And sapient, I would define as having a very high level of awareness.
Human gracefulness. Soon, I believe soon, these AI in robotic suits will be walking among us and we won't even know it. Call me crazy now. Remember how you can call, 20 years ago, you can call somebody crazy if they describe to you everything that we are enjoying technologically today, 2024. Back in 2020, describe what we are having today to somebody in 1985 or 1995. They will call you crazy. So today I'm saying, and I'm not the only one saying this, I'm actually just regurgitating many of those who do research the transhuman, posthuman, technocratic society that these WEF guys and the UN and the Trilateral Commission and the Club of Rome and the Silicon Valley futurists are predicting. I'm not saying this from my own original idea. I'm just regurgitating what many futurists and scientists and developers are saying. I'm just sharing it with you here on this show today. What they are saying. And what they're saying is that we are heading to the direction where robotics and AI will dominate and humans will be subservient in this dystopic future society. We're actually in the end game right now. Like I said, let me say it again. I said it twice already in this episode, but let me say it again because maybe it hasn't hit home yet. The military-industrial complex have already decided that some of the drones are given autonomy. Weaponized drones. I'm not talking about the drones that you play with your GoPro. I'm talking about striker drones, predator drones that they use for warfare in Ukraine, in Afghanistan, in Iraq. Predator drones are now given AI and autonomy to pre-select targets. And if AI, and I do believe Steve Quayle,
Change was number one, that the kid was getting a response from a fallen one who was identifying Lucifer and also was identifying one of the names of the fallen angels, Shemaiah.
Yep.
And you know what was interesting about this, and I just want to make this clear. I wrote in about demon-possessed machines 25 years ago. I wrote a book called Genetic Armageddon, Today's Technology, Tomorrow's Monsters, okay? That's how long.
I do believe these very important voices in the Bible scholars of the evangelical. This is not the evangelical industrial complex. These are some of the outcasts. I'm talking about Timothy Alberino, Steve Quayle, Sharon Gilbert, Derek Gilbert.
Is that at the basic level, they don't know how they work.
Right.
The programmers do not know how they work. The way it works is they put in code, that's the input, and then they get the output behavior of the algorithm. In the middle is what they call the black box. That's where the demon lives.
He was a professor at the Artificial Brain Institute of
Xi'an University.
Yes, in China, where they were building what they call neural networks, which are essentially artificial brains. The thing, and he admitted this in an interview that I did with Hugo, that he said we weren't doing science, we were doing engineering. In other words, we put input into these black boxes that do this thinking, and we would get output. But we have no idea what's going on inside the black boxes.
Right.
They're creating these artificial brains, and they don't know how these things work.
Gilbert. Pastor Tom Horn, before he passed away last year. His children.
Because technological singularity is coming. Now, what do I mean by that?
Yeah.
That is the moment in which an artificial intelligence is going to suddenly come alive. It's going to develop consciousness.
What?
It's going to become an I am that I am.
Mm-hmm.
And it will be literally trillions of times more powerful than every Einstein that has ever lived in terms of its ability to calculate. It'll outwit humans before you even know what the question is, right?
Yeah.
And I think the book of Revelation talks about this when it says, and they had power to give life unto the image of the beast, and that they would cause all both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive the mark of the beast, to worship the beast. I think that's exactly what the book of Revelation was talking about. So,
His children, Ali Anderson, Joe Horn.
If AI were to become sentient and take over the world, maybe destroy humanity, maybe even become something that facilitated the beast system,
Sure.
is this something that could happen? And this AI chatbot responded, no, AI would not do that. AI would not take over the world or become the beast system. But if we did decide to do it, here's how it would happen.
Right.
And then it gave a 7-point list of all the ways that it could actually happen.
During his final conversations, he was still emphasizing that this message had to get out, that it was of paramount importance that the world was made aware of what was coming.
Society has absolutely no idea what they're embracing, what they've invited in, even welcomed it as the future savior of humanity. This will ultimately be the one thing that brings about our own demise.
If humanity survives, it will unequivocally alter life as we know it.
By the time people realize the danger that they've embraced, it will be too late. It will have become unstoppable.
Updating social credit score, citizen 1934265.
One final warning. The world is not ready for what is coming.
Dr. Thomas R. Horn, Joe Artis Horn, Ali Anderson. Summoning the demon.
But these are some of the outcasts from the evangelical industrial complex. They're not the Benny Hinns and the Joel Austins. These are these are what they call the fringes, the minority fringe, the fringe minority, just like how they call us, dissenters, red-pilled freedomizers in Canada. According to Justin Trudeau, we are the fringe minorities. Don't listen to them. ChatGPT 4.0 is another step to another significant step towards humanizing and personizing, giving personhood, giving human rights to AI and robotics and automation, to undermine God's selected species to dominate Earth, which is supposed to be human beings. So we're the only creation that was given the mandate to multiply, increase our number, and take dominion of the earth. We are the only species that was given that mandate. But then the fallen watchers came, and the technocrats came, and now robotics is here. It is part of the same millennial game that we have been, the millennial war that we have been fighting since the fallen watchers in Mount Hermon. Was it like 30 or 300 fallen watchers that has copulated with human women, offered technology in exchange for human women that they copulated with, and created the giants and the Nephilims of old. It is the same warfare that we have been fighting for centuries and thousands of years. Today's war against AI and against the military-industrial drones, weaponized drones. Like I said, call me crazy.